Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm everyone knows Shorty. Gonna take a little special look at something today. Hawkgirl, Once Upon a Galaxy by Jadzia Axelrod and an artist whose name I've totally forgotten. I'll try and tag them in the description of the video. It's something that I actually only just read recently. It came out a while ago. I must have it passed me by. I honestly didn't see Jadzia's name on it. It's just, I've never really got into the Hawkgirl thing, so it kind of passed me by. But I read it and I thought, yeah, this actually is something we're talking about, especially because this week there's only really 2 new releases we've got in store we're talking about, so I'm going to pad out my reviews and also talk about something cool. Also, the timing of it is kind of nice, because yes, it's July now, end of Pride Month. And I always feel like it's worth reminding people that this store has got a Pride progress flag, literally, I mean, you can't see it, but way into the store, it's around the side, and it's been there every single day since we opened in this location, and for a couple of years before that in a different location. It is always something that's up because I always want people to feel welcome here. Every day we open, we have stories by queer creators, about queer characters, dealing with queer topics. It's something which I think is worth having just in any shop. And even though I am one of those cishet white guys that you always see in the TV shows and on the movies, I do enjoy this kind of stories, not because it is just another, way of seeing a different viewpoint, but it's a way of seeing a viewpoint which I think explicitly I don't get. Yes, there are some fantastic stories with cishet white guys in them, and I'll probably enjoy them going forward, but I like stories. I own a comic book store. I engage in tabletop role-playing, and the more stories I get to encounter, the happier I am, and comic books actually put out quite a lot of queer stories, and it gives me a chance to experience stories which I usually would have no chance to experience. So that's why I thought, let's talk about this one. And there's a lot of reasons why I enjoyed it. The artwork is fantastic. This is what's really annoying. I'm still struggling to remember the artist's name, but it is brilliant. I'm going to give one minor criticism right now, because it's only fair for the amount of praise I'm going to give this thing, that there are times when they're playing with form and having non-traditional page layouts. They do this quite often during action sequences, and it really helps to give more of a sense of dynamic action within those sequences. But other times when they're doing action, it feels more traditional layouts, and I think it lacks something because of that. It feels far more like photos taken of images in motion rather than capturing the motion. And I know it's hard to differentiate those between still and dynamic, but for comic book fans it is noticeable, and it's just the only real criticism I've got at it. In terms of writing, it is brilliant. I love the story from start to finish. It's a nice 6-parter. Each chapter is very nicely self-contained, but builds up to the whole. It introduces new bits of lore, new characters, but it's very, very hard, and I'd say pointless to engage with it in a good way, to ignore the fact that it is an exceptionally queer story. And it did kind of hammer home something which I've been thinking about for a while now, which is when I engage with queer media, I tend to avoid the kind of stories which a committee has decided cishet white guys like me would be okay enjoying, even if it's gay. I'm looking at you, red, white, and royal blue. I don't like that kind of thing. Don't get me wrong, there can still be good stories, but if it feels too tailored to fit into a niche because they think that's my niche, I feel like it's an unnecessary pandering. I've already got plenty of stories that I can enjoy. Do it that's actually kind of sloppy and messy, and just have these people doing what they want to do. Bros, fantastic example, and discusses this in the start of it. Fire Island, brilliant. What it feels like for a girl, absolutely brilliant. This is another great example, because these are not people who are going through everything perfectly and living their best life. They're living the best life they can at the moment, but it's far from perfect simply because the world isn't supportive of that kind of thing, but they're still trying. And I like that kind of thing. It's also weirdly horny for a DC comic book, and this is one of those things which really did hit me in terms of watching so many Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and reading a lot of Marvel comics where you do not get that sense of sexuality at all. Other people than me doing video reviews have talked about the prolonged forehead-to-forehead contact to signify sexual attraction and love in Marvel movies. In this, we have this fantastic line of, yeah, but what if she was into you? I would climb her like a tree. And I just loved that. It is absolutely on the nose. It is brilliant. It tells you so much about who these characters are and their worldviews, and it actually gets to the heart of what it is like to be attracted to somebody. And there's not enough of that in comic books in my mind. Straight, hetero, gay, queer, bi, lesbian, any of that. It needs to be something a bit more in. And weirdly, I feel like queer writers, queer creators telling queer stories get the chance to have that little bit more freedom, because they're already telling stories which are kind of off-center for what people would have expected. I mean, to this day, I'm still really annoyed that the Galaxy of Prettiest Star book is a YA book that's sent to comic book stores sealed, because even just the idea that it might be a trans character seems to be like something you need to hide away from prying eyes or delicate sensibilities. This one, it's actually proper DC, and I think Jadzia has embraced what freedom that has given her, and I absolutely adore it. I think it's one of the best, most entertaining comic books I've read so far this year. It's kind of frustrating me that I've only just kind of jumped onto it, but it was when I saw her name, when I saw Galaxy's involved, I was like, yeah, I missed out on this. I need to go back and have a proper look at it, and I'm glad I did, 'cause it is a fantastic comic book. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.